Residents of N1 community in Akwa Ibom State have petitioned the Department of State Services over an alleged gruesome killing of members of the community by attackers from a neighboring community, Uko Ntege Uda, also of the state. The petitioners allege that the victims of the attack were beheaded and their heads taken away by the attackers. They also say the attackers completely destroyed 14 houses during the menace and have indicted the State Divisional Police Headquarters for collusion. Both communities are presently locked in a dispute over land borders. The petitioners are calling for investigations to uncover the sponsors of the violence and the ammunition used during the attacks.
Well, for more, we're now being joined by a RISE analyst, MAHMUD JEGA. MAHMUD, glad to have you join us. Well, let's start immediately from what the president said. It describes the killings in the country as madness, calling on local leaders to talk to their youths and warn them against being used against the state. Do you get a sense that the president is not probably on top of his act? Talk, would that do the trick?
Well, there is no doubt that the government is not on top of its act with respect to internal security in the country, because things have gone haywire, everywhere. So the president's description that what's going on is madness is probably accurate, but the important thing, the president is not describing situations, but it is in rolling out the solutions in order to take care of the madness. That is what many people will say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What the president has said is usually what he always says when there's a situation bordering on insecurity. Every time they're condemning, they're releasing statements. And what it seems is that the president may not be using the full extent of the powers that his office has bequeathed on him. Do you agree with that?
Okay, you see, he does not have to tell us everything that he's doing, although we will see it. They regularly hold these meetings with the security and police chiefs. We don't expect them to tell us everything that they are about to do. But of course, if they have got very good plans that they unroll, definitely we will see it on the ground. It should have an impact on the insecurity situation in the country. Unfortunately, for now, I don't think the government has made much headway.
Mahmoud, let's evaluate the statement of the Are Onakakam for Gani Adams. Do you think that probably he's taking his concern too far by saying that the president should do all in his power to avoid another civil war?
Exactly, because you see the insecurity that pervades the country now, we're all in it. Everybody can be grabbed by kidnappers, anybody can be shot by insurgents. So to that extent, secession may not be the answer, because even if you have your own republic, provided there are kidnappers and armed robbers there, nobody is safe. So the part of it that could lead to trouble is ethnic profiling and ethnicizing the problem. Because if some communities say that it is this community that is causing it, that is the kind of thing that can endanger the whole country. So probably it is not a very helpful thing for the Ariana Kakanfo to say that this kind of thing can lead to civil war. It is not civil war, it is anarchy that we are afraid of, the total collapse of order.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll keep you on pause. We're coming back right to you. You're still watching Newsnight. We'll be back in a bit with more. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Newsnight. We're still here with RISE news analyst MAHMUD JEGA, still here with us discussing the insecurity in Nigeria. Now, in response to claims by the presidency that disgruntled religious leaders and past political leaders are joining forces with external forces to overthrow the Buhari-led administration. Now, Professor Patutomi has said that this statement does not do justice, is very insensitive to the demands of the citizens. What does he mean when he says the Nigerian people need a government of national unity?
I don't know. I didn't hear his entire statement. I don't know exactly what he means. But you see, talk about a government of national unity is usually more appropriate in a parliamentary system, especially when you have a government that either does not have a majority or it has a slim majority in parliament and is therefore unable to exercise much authority. But in a presidential system of government, where all the executive power of the federation is vested in one person, that is the president, and also in the present situation that we have, the president's political party is in control with good majorities in both chambers of the National Assembly. So we cannot attribute any observed shortcomings to lack of a government of national unity. Because having an opposition has its own use. We don't want all the politicians to gang up together and nobody says that things are not going on well. So to that extent, I tend to disagree with what Professor Utomi said.
Now, security forces say they've deployed equipment, personnel to entry and exit points in the FCT, that is here in Abuja, to stop bandits. Fine, that's good. But Mahmoud, does this sound to you like it's ad hoc? That one will need something more permanent, a policy for all times, not just something like a fire brigade approach. Does it sound to you like this is what it is?
Well, I hope it is not the only thing. As we were saying earlier, the security agencies do not tell us everything that they are doing. For example, I think the most important thing here will be the gathering of intelligence. It is not just installing checkpoints and posting policemen on the road, because of course if you are a smart bandit, you can always evade checkpoints. There are all kinds of other routes. But if the police are deeply immersed in the communities and gather the right kind of intelligence to act upon, that would be a better solution to the problem, and I hope they are doing it. I don't expect them to announce it if they are doing that, but I hope they are doing it.
Well, they say talk is cheap. Talk is cheap.
Yes.
Definitely.
What do you make of the statements from some leaders of thought, against both the government and security in the nation, or even against the soldiers, who we must say and agree that they're paying the supreme sacrifice? You can't take away that from them, really.
There is no doubt that the security agencies in Nigeria, I mean the military in the Northeast, have sacrificed hundreds of lives in fighting the insurgents. If they are not doing it as effectively as we wish, it may not be due to their own fault. Maybe they don't have the right equipment and the right intelligence and also possibly the right community support and cooperation. So at all times, we should support the security agencies, the police and the military and the others, despite their shortcomings, because they are the only people who are standing between us and the total anarchy. I mean, if the military fails in the Northeast, that's probably the end of the country, because the insurgents will run amok everywhere. Similarly with the bandits and the kidnappers and to all that. So the right attitude, I'm sure, is encouragement, and to encourage and to demand for them to do even better, but not to discourage them, because if they stop, then where does that lead?
There's chaos.
Exactly.
In the system.
Chaos.
All right, before we let you go, the Arewa Consultative Forum seems to align with the Kaduna State Governor on negotiating but not paying ransom, How do you see that?
The only thing to negotiate with the bandits is to pay ransom, because the whole thing is commercial.
No, because I remember from Sambo, he said what we gathered from him is that this last, the release of the Afaka students,
yes,
what exchanged hands was just their own bandit / rustler as against 27 students who were released. I was asking you, what I was asking, do you and Professor Chris, this is a way that government, a policy they could adopt instead of paying money, look at exchanging bandits or insurgents.
Even that is costly. I mean, somebody commits terrible crimes, you are able after strenuous effort to apprehend him, only for you to have to release him because the bandits. So it's as bad as paying money. In any case, I see sense in those who say we should not pay ransom to the bandits, because of course, as long as ransom is paid in millions of naira, then the problem will never end, because they will release this batch of victims and grab
it's
another.
It's more of a reward than a consequence.
But then the trouble is,
and
how do you
use
convince
it to get weapons,
families?
more weapons.
They will. But how will families not pay ransom, for goodness sake? If your father is
devil and the deep blue sea,
is the devil, and if your father is kidnapped and there is no chance that the security agencies may rescue him, you can't just leave him in the name of
it's a tough
policy.
One.
It's a tough
it's
one.
a tough one.
Yes.
Get you.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much, MAHMUD JEGA, for joining us on Newsnight.